Hi guys, this vlog is going to be a little bit different because these are a little different times. In fact, we are shut down here at the Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal shop. I'm the only one here, and I gotta tell you, it's a little lonely. On Monday afternoon, the governor here in Michigan issued an executive order that made us, I think, the fourth or fifth state to completely shut down in an effort to slow the spread of the COVID-19 coronavirus. Never in my lifetime have I heard of a government ordering private businesses to just cease operations. And it's not just a suggestion. An executive order has the force of law. Here in Michigan, you can be fined or even put in jail for ignoring it. So I had to send everyone here home for the next, well, hopefully only 3 weeks. If you're wondering who I mean by everyone, I explained who works behind the scenes and what they do in a recent vlog. I'll link to that below if you missed it. But the short version is Pete, Mustache Mike, Office Amy, Chip, they're all gone. And I am wandering around this shop all by myself. So what does this mean for our videos? Nothing. We've already filmed a lot of footage, so I'll be editing and releasing videos regularly. We've got 4 sharpening tutorials coming up in the next several days about ways to speed up the hand sharpening process. Maybe a cool tools video. We've got some tutorials about making cabinet doors. There's a video about table saw versus router dados. You're gonna have plenty to watch. And hopefully in 3 weeks, we'll be right back to normal. So since you aren't likely to even notice these changes, why am I telling you about them? Because a lot of folks seem to be freaking out. I'm not going to tell people not to freak out. I mean, let's face it, if you or I lived in New York or Italy, we'd be freaking out too. Like I said, this isn't like anything any of us outside of a war zone has experienced. The last time something like this happened was maybe 1918, and that totally changed the world. Pretty much everyone back then knew someone who died. My great-great-grandmother died from the Spanish flu. She was only 38. She left 9 children, including my great-grandmother, who was just 10 years old. So I understand how people can be afraid. But I also understand that we live in a totally different time now. This is nothing like that. Back then, they didn't even know the flu was caused by a virus. There were no flu vaccines. They had no antiviral drugs that treat flu illnesses. They didn't even have antibiotics. You got maybe an aspirin and, if you were lucky, a hospital bed. As many as 500 million people were infected and perhaps 50 million people died, and that was with a much smaller population than we have now. That is so much worse than COVID-19 is. But how did they beat a pandemic that bad without modern medicine as we know it today? Through isolation and hygiene. That's pretty much it. So when you hear people nagging that you should wash your hands 100 times a day and to social distance from other people, that's not just the government trying to scare you or to placate you into thinking that you're doing something useful when they have no idea what to do. That is literally how we beat pandemics that might otherwise kill millions of people. Did you see those schmucks on the news partying for spring break like nothing was going on? They interviewed some of them and they were saying things like, well, it's my risk. If I get it, I get it. It's not about you, moron. It's about the people you infect. Do you really want to kill grandma? What about somebody else's grandmother? I swear, some people are so self-centered and stupid, it's amazing they can take a shower without drowning. And don't even get me started with this idiot. Mr. I'm gonna be Instagram famous is now in the hospital, taking up a bed and putting healthcare workers at risk because he's an idiot. And he's not alone. Social media is full of this kind of stuff. Nobody's saying you should freak out. We all just have to use a little bit of common sense. Of course, I don't have to tell you that. So what I'm about to say isn't directed toward you. This is what you should pass on to the ignorant schmuck in your life who isn't taking this seriously. Like your nephew who posts photos on Facebook hanging out with his friends licking doorknobs, or your neighbor who pulls up with a pickup truck full of toilet paper. These people aren't as smart as the rest of us. They need you to explain how to survive this. So here's my idiot's guide to surviving COVID-19. First of all, wash your hands a lot. Count slowly to 15 or 20 while you do it. And keep your fingernails short. They're bacteria traps. Stay away from other people if you can help it. It takes days for symptoms to appear, but viruses can still be passed during that time. So don't think you can just avoid people with runny noses or that you can't infect someone if you don't have a cough. Only go to the grocery store or other public places if you have to, and only buy the food you need for the next week or so. This is not the zombie apocalypse. There's plenty of food. The trucks are still driving, the supply chains are still intact. If everyone just settles down, the shelves will be restocked. Nobody has to die over the last frozen pizza. If you do have to go to the store, only touch what you have to and really make an effort to keep your hands away from your face. You'd be surprised how often you scratch your nose. Don't do that. And then stop in the bathroom on the way out to wash your hands before you carry that crud into your car. Speaking of bathrooms, for goodness sakes, how much toilet paper do you need? Do some math. Do you really need a whole cart full? Think about other people, not just yourself. If you got a few extra bucks, help someone who might be struggling. Cover your mouth when you cough. Talk to friends on the phone for the next couple weeks instead of hanging out. Isolate yourself even from family members if you don't feel well, even if you think it's not the coronavirus. And don't go to the hospital unless you are seriously ill. Instead, call your doctor and ask them what to do. And stop licking toilets. Hopefully, by passing along these common sense tips, you'll save someone's grandma from the idiot in her life. This too shall pass. In a few months, we'll have something new to worry about. In the meantime, we'll keep putting out videos and hopefully they'll help you keep your mind off things because everyone needs to just sit back and have a cold one. You've earned it, my friend. We couldn't do what we do without folks like the Bushy family over at Clearview Cyclones. Not only do they make the best dust collection cyclones on the market, but they're woodworkers supporting woodworkers. They're the sponsor of this video, and I really hope you'll thank them by visiting their website and using our discount code below this video. Wait, don't go yet. If you're new here, please subscribe and remember to ring the bell. I would really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, or better yet, leave us a comment. I always read them. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always packed with tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker.